this is a good question. This is a fascinating question, I think, in the context of tawnies. Julia Crowley has a friend who's asked what grape varieties are typically used in the manufacture of port. And I was wondering what they are and if they're different. I mean, we already know Tinta Franca for the vows. I was a little surprised by that. You expect Nacional, but what are the tawnies made with, and are they any different from, say, Founders Reserve?
Well, it's more than the selection of varieties for specific port making, or at least in the case of the tawnies. What we've found some 25, 30 years ago was that there were 5 key varieties of red varieties which work very well, of which probably the 2 best known, Touriga Nacional and Touriga Franca. Tinta Roriz is also used, and Tinto Cão and Barroca. These are the 5 varieties. When this was established, like all rules, somebody comes along and says, these are the 5 varieties, and everybody started planting those varieties. But the reality is that our vineyards still have all of the old varieties, maybe 50, 60 varieties from the past. And over time, we've learned that, yes, these varieties are the best varieties, but within the ones that were not classified 25 years ago, we also find other varieties. Tinta Amarela, for instance, okay, which is a variety that people have suddenly said, oh, well, this actually is a variety that works very well.
Pretty good, eh?
So what have we learned is, we've learned that, yes, there are some key varieties that you can plant, but yes, the ancients, if you want to call them that, the people in the past, 200 years ago.
Louder. More complaints.
The people in the past, 200 years ago, learned that having a vineyard with mixed varieties actually produced better wines, because varieties are subject to the growing season and the location.
The vagaries of each.
And if you look at the Duoro, I mean, the Duoro it's not one microclimate. We classify it into 3 macroclimates. But then within each macroclimate, every hill and every curve is a microclimate.
So curve, just to explain, the Duoro is a valley, it's a river valley. You have terrace vineyards going down the sides. So what is the elevation difference between the top of vineyards and the bottom?
God. That's a
couple hundred meters?
Yeah.
300, 400 meters?
Yeah, 300, 400.
So we're going to say 300, 400 meters, which is significant, 1,200 feet. So the lowest vineyards really are under completely different growing conditions than the highest vineyards.
Yeah, and it's worse than that, because it spreads. I mean, basically 300 kilometers, all the way from the middle of the Douro, or the middle of Portugal, basically, all the way up to the Spanish border. So you have completely different climatic conditions, which vary every year. So I mean, you're talking about, I mean, it's hundreds, if not thousands, of microclimates. It's not like growing in Bordeaux or in Champagne, where you sort of know where the microclimate is and how it works. I mean, here you have all of these different things going on. So one year you can get really great Touriga Nacional growing in one area that next year did really badly. So this combination of grape varieties is really important.
So there's a combination of grape varieties. Do you also have a combination of estates throughout the Douro?
Exactly.
So
this also is the case.
It's a gigantic jigsaw puzzle.
It really is. It really is. And that's what makes it. I mean, the Douro is very complicated anyway. It's a wonderful region. If you've never visited, it's absolutely, there are no photos, there are no videos that do it justice. I mean, when you go up from up to Pinhão, which is in the center of the middle of the Douro, and you look around and you see vineyards planted everywhere. And then from there, you go up to the highest mountain that there is, and you look around and all you see is vineyards planted, and you say, how the hell did they plant a vineyard there? And that's the Douro. It's enormous work of love.
When you see a vineyard and you go, how the hell did they plant a vineyard there? Are those older vineyards?
Not always. I mean, sometimes they're younger vineyards. There's been a lot of conversion of vineyards in the last decade, you know, and some of the old vineyards that were split up and on different terraces have been now sort of, you know, made into more workable economic vineyards. But you find people who got pieces of land, you know, in what seems to be impossible places to get to.
Nothing's impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
Somebody's got a dream they're going to plant
it's true. It's
vineyards
true.
there.
It's true.